Hi guys, welcome to this episode of Weekly Analytics. Weekly Analysis. This is EU Analytics. This is a channel where I drop analysis, weekly analysis by Sunday, Monday, and I drop weekly weekly educational content by midweek Wednesday, Thursday. Then Friday I drop institutional minded insights. So today's videos is going to be about the weekly analysis, what I'm expecting to see in the market as an institutional driven trader. So but before I do that, let me quickly run through the fundamentals we had last week and the one to come this week. Let me quickly run through the fundamentals, then I'll come back to the chart. So see see Monday. Yeah, so last week the major news we had, and then last week Monday we had a Japanese bank holiday on Monday. Then we had a news on CHF, CPI, CHF drop. Um, the actual was actually less than forecast, which was a bad news for CHF. So we're expecting it to be lower than forecast, but it was surprisingly more lower than forecasted. Then 4 p.m. on Monday, we had ISM manufacturing PMI for the US dollar. It was less than forecast, which was a negative news. Then also we have the Bank of Canada, Governor Macklem, he speaks 7:30 p.m. on Monday. I think the news was anonymous. This news 7:30. Then on Tuesday we had monetary policy rate statement for AUD. The rate was maintained at 3.6%, meaning actual came as forecasted. Then we had a conference after the cash rate was dropped. The conference was dropped by the AUD where the governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia spoke. She spoke she spoke on what to expect in the economy. Um, she said the reason why the monetary policy statement was maintained, why it was not cut. And I think um, she also said that the the economy is not yet showing any 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 increment yet since they cut the rate. So she said she has not seen any improvement yet on the economy. So we're expecting she says she's expecting an improvement before we know what to look out for next on the AUD, whether there's going to be a rate cut in the next meeting. So back to the news, we have 10:45 p.m. The unemployment rate news was dropped for NZD. Actual came just as forecasted. Then on Wednesday, the ADP data was dropped for USD by 2:15 p.m. Nigerian time. Actual was greater than forecast. Then 4 p.m. the ISM service PMI was also dropped for USD. Actual was greater than forecast, which was a good news. Then 10:30 p.m. Bank of Canada Governor Macklem speaks again on Wednesday 10:30 p.m. Nigerian time. Then on Thursday we have a monetary policy report from the Great Britain pound. Um, they were able to maintain the rate at 4.00%, no cut, no hike. They maintain. Then we have a vote of 5-4, meaning five um 5 members of the policy of the policy makers, um they agreed. 5 members of the policy makers, they agreed to maintain the bank rate, while 4 was against it, but majority carried the vote, so they maintained the rate at 5-4. 1:30 p.m. We also have the governor of Bank of England spoke. Then 4:30 p.m. Bank of Canada Governor Maclean speaks again on Thursday. So then on Friday we have the unemployment data dropped for card, which was actually more exceeding surprisingly data, because they were expecting it to maintain previous um its previous data, but it actually came out surprisingly better, which made the unemployment rate of card lower. It's now 6.9%, better than the previous one. So this week, data, we have Monday, no news on no major news for the major pairs, because basically I trade only the major pairs. So I don't chase every move in the market. I chase specific moves in the market. So that is why even the data I'm holding is the major ones, because that is the one I usually trade, because the major carry the votes in everything, both in this forex market. It also applies in the market. Majority carry. So that's why I trade the majors. So this week on Monday, no major news. Then on Tuesday, we have climate count change data for Great Britain pound is going to be dropping by 8 a.m. Nigerian time. Then there's going to be a bank holiday for the French banks, Canadian banks, and the US banks, which is tomorrow. By the time I'm making this video on Monday. So tomorrow, Tuesday, there's going to be a bank holiday for the US, Canada, and EU. Then on Wednesday, no major news. Then on Thursday, we are going to be having the Australian data for unemployment rate is forecasted to reduce at 4.4. We hope it come out soon. Then 8 a.m. Nigerian time on Thursday, the GDP data for the pound is going to be released, forecasted to be less less than the previous. So we'll see how it come. Then the US news, they are on tentative based on the US shutdown. So if but I saw a news today, yeah, I saw a news that the Senate um has agreed to sign the bill for the government house. So if it come out as told, if you sign the deal, then to send it to Trump. Then after Trump sign it, then the US be back. So hopefully, if they can be back before Thursday and Friday, then we can have the release of the US CPI for the month. We can have a release for the US CPI for the month on Thursday. Then on Friday, we have the core PPI for USD also, and the retail sales. So if possible, they can end the shutdown before Thursday, Friday, then we'll have this data. But if not, it will be adjourned to the future. So back to the chart. So on DXY, which is the dollar index, lately the dollar index have been giving us a sign of a reversal. If you go to the sorry guys, if you go to the monthly time frame, go to the monthly time frame, the dollar has actually been selling for this year, for the whole of this year. Let me see when it started. It was around January. So the dollar has been basically selling from January, but now we are beginning to see some signs of reversal from the last 5 months. from I think from August, yes. From August we have been seeing a signs of reversal. So if you dive back to the weekly time frame, you see something like this. See something like this. From here you see a low here, a lower low, then an equal low, which has formed a double bottom, and market has been pushing up since then. So we might actually see the market coming to this level first, then hopefully you can see it again breaking it and coming to this strong resistance level here. So if I dive down to the weekly time frame, if I dive down to the daily time frame, you see the structure clearly. See the structure clearly that the market has been moving since, yeah, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So the market is retracing. So we might get a retracement to somewhere around there, then get a buy to continue the rally of the US dollar. Yeah, we might get a retracement. We get a retracement. So all you just need to do is dive into the 4 hour time frame, look for your entry zones to take the market up. So to actually do this, you just reciprocate it on the pairs. Basically, we don't trade the US dollar directly. We trade it against other pairs like Euro USD, GBP USD, AUD USD, NZD USD. So let me show you guys on the pair I'm actually looking at. Yeah, NZD USD. So basically, based on what we have seen from the US dollar, which is the DXY pair, is reciprocating in the New Zealand dollar. You can see we're having a series of lower low, lower high on the NZD, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, equal high, lower low, equal high, lower low, equal high, lower low. So what we basically be expecting is a little retracement to somewhere around there. And again, if you can grab the fib level from here to this zone, you see that you can find the entry around the 50 to 61 fib area to be a good, because if you look at market, basically the market has been respecting the 50 to 61% replacement level for this pair. So this is the pair I'll be looking at to trade this week. Looking at to trade, I want market to give me at least a retracement to the 50 to 61 before taking the market down. But I have a strong level here. Let me show you this level, the weekly time frame. Can see market came rejected, came here, so rejected. Now market is going, so markets can likely give us a strong reaction at this level. So we still have few pips to bang this market to the downside. Few pips to bang this market to the downside. Then the second pair on my watch list is GBP USD. So on GBP USD, we can see is also falling down. Also, we have a series of lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We can see the market is giving a form of retracement. So if you can see a better retracement in this place, then you can go for a sell. If you dive into the 4 hour time frame or the 1 hour time frame, you see a better entry to take these markets down. Yes. And another pair again that I can also look at is Euro USD, which is the inverse correlation of the dollar. This is the best pair. This this is the best pair I love to trade against the dollar. Anytime I want to trade against the dollar, this is my number one pair I go for, because it's just like the dollar index upside down. The dollar, look at the dollar index upside down. Look at, see the dollar index upside down. So if you I will basically would like to trade. I basically like to trade Euro USD because it has liquidity Um, and again is an inverse correlated pair of the dollar, the number one inverse correlated pair of the dollar. So I would like to trade this pair. So what I'm just expecting, I'm expecting the market to push a little up, then get my entry, then sell the market down. That's what I'm expecting. So expecting something like this, then sell the market down. But I'm here to follow the market. I'm not here to trade against the market. The market can break this high, but this is my reference high. This is my reference high. If the market is able to break above this high here, if the market is able to break above this high here, I'm going to be if the market is able to break above this high here, I'm going to start looking for buys, but I don't expect that soon. I expect the market to continue the downtrend, and if we're able to get the CPI data this week, it's going to give us a more clarity of the market. It's going to give us more clarity on what to expect in the market this week. So, guys, thank you for tuning in for this episode of this analysis. My name once again is EU Analytics. So I drop weekly analysis here on Sundays, Mondays. Then midweek I drop trade insights or week or updates on what the market has done based on my analysis drop. So by Wednesday, Thursday, midweek, I'm going to update you guys on what the market is doing. I can even drop a trade idea on how to enter the market. Like I'll dive into the lower time frame. Maybe probably the midweek. I'll show you guys how you are going to enter this market this week. So guys, thank you for tuning in and love you. Peace.